Good morning, this is Johnny. Today I'm at the Waikoloa Beach Marriott, and it's Christmas time, as you can see from behind me. It's one of my favorite times of the year. It's a time of happiness and joy. And today I would like to talk a little bit about the happiest man I've ever known. And I met this fellow when I was 21 years old, and I was attending the University of Uppsala in Sweden. And there I lived in a 16-story building with one room and a bathroom and a common kitchen. And so one of the people that lived on my wing of that building, I would meet in the kitchen all the time. There was 12 of us that cooked in the kitchen. And he was a guy that was about 50 years old and always wore black, was from Norway, and from what I could tell, he virtually lived on pickled eggs. And so anyway, the one thing that I really noticed about him is that he was always super happy and full of joy. And I got along with him really well, of course. Well, in the winter in Sweden, it's not real pleasant weather. It's really cold and dark and a lot of sleet and snow. And I used to have to walk about 3 miles through the woods and also through this ancient cemetery to get to school. And one day I was walking to school and he was going the other direction on his bicycle. And all of a sudden he stopped and looked at me with this smile on his face and said, "Johnny, you hear that?" And I said, "What do you mean, that bird?" He said, "That bird. It's some kind of really rare bird in the winter in Sweden, some kind of warbler or something like that. I don't know exactly what it was." But he said, "Just listen to it." And I was kind of feeling sorry for myself at the time. Being a kid from California, I didn't like the cold and I didn't like the dark and I was homesick. And there he was, smiled as big as it could be on his face. And I finally asked him, I said, "You're the happiest man I've ever met and the most joyous. And what's your secret?" And he says, when I was a little older than you, I was a school teacher in Norway. And when the Nazis occupied Norway, they rounded everybody up that had an education, including me, and put me in a concentration camp. And I was in that concentration camp for several years during World War II. And they beat me and they starved me and just abused me in every way that you can imagine. And I was totally miserable. And one day I was standing there at the barbed wire looking out, and I said, if I survive this, I'll never have another bad day. And I'll be damned if that wasn't the case. He was the happiest man I've ever known and also the most joyous. So I wish all of you a joyous Christmas season. I'm certainly going to have one with my family. And aloha from the Big Island.